What's up, guys? We're here for another episode of the Discipline and Legacy podcast. I got my buddy Jason Aron flew in from New York.
Yes.
He spent some time in South Florida while he was here. He had something else going on, but we got to plan the podcast around his trip to Florida. And the guy's got an amazing story. Came up through the ranks, directing and producing. And I don't want to take any more from him. I think it's better that he says it because I'm not. We're just talking before the cameras went on, and I'm new to all this. So,
Yeah. I mean, first of all, thank you for having me, and I'll never say no to a trip to South Florida. I mean, that's you're tan as can be. I mean, I've only been here 2 days. Look how tan I got.
Yeah.
The sun's working.
People ask me, like, how do you get tan? I'm like, well, I was running a bulldozer Monday, so I was like,
just move down here.
Yeah.
It's easy work. Yeah, I think for me the career resume is basically because I was just trying to figure stuff out and figure more stuff out and figure
Yeah.
more stuff out, and next thing you know, it turns into a resume.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I came up. But anything you want to know, where do you want to
yeah.
start?
So obviously, Discipline and Legacy, man. We want to hear your story. We want to hear how you got to where you are right now. Obviously, you're doing pretty well for yourself, and got to a point where people want to listen to you and hear what you have to say about what it is that you do. So I think that's where a podcast, kind of can grab that knowledge from. So
Yeah, I think the crazy part is that last part that people want to listen to me now, and it's kind of getting used to that, I guess. Really, last 10 years is kind of when that started to become a thing. I had a project 10 years ago called Back in Time. It was a documentary about Back to the Future, and
I love that movie.
yeah, it premiered on Netflix. It was on Netflix for 3 years, and it's still somewhere. It's been on Hulu, Peacock. It moves around. I try to follow it.
Really? No, so it's not there anymore?
It was on Netflix for 3 years. Basically, our original distribution deal. So we use a company called Gravitas. They're very big in the documentary space specifically, and they have our distribution rights. I think it's for 15 years. Which it's funny, when we signed the deal, that sounded like, the rest of my life. And now that I'm doing the math in my head, it's only like 4 more years. So
Wow.
if I'm not mistaken. But so they had the rights to kind of move it around, and Netflix signed for 3 years, and then immediately it went to Hulu right after that. It was on Hulu for a couple of years. Then it went to Peacock. At one point, I think it's always been available on a premium subscription. At one point, I think it was only available on YouTube with ads, which I hated.
Right.
But that was already we're over 10 years in, so now it's kind of less important. But it's just always nice when you meet somebody, you want to tell them where to watch it, or when you're on a podcast, you want to tell them where to watch it. So it's somewhere. Back in Time is the name of that film. But yeah, when
You
that
don't know
came out,
where.
I don't know where.
All right. We'll find out where it is, and we'll let you guys.
But actually, if you don't know, there's a great website. Where is it streaming?
Really?
Yeah, so that website exists. So any film that you want to find, like where it is, you type it in, it tells you like where it is, if it's on a free thing or a paid thing or what. So yeah, just search on there, and then now you could save that bookmark for life. But when that project came out, that changed. That was already, I guess, 10 years probably into my career. 2015. Yeah, it's about 7 years into my career at that point. And prior to that, I mean, I was just hacking away at shooting weddings, making commercial projects for, dentist office and whatever dumb businesses, like, not that they were dumb, but, in the grand scheme of things, not exactly breaking the box office with anything I was doing back then. But ultimately, I think I had a good eye, and I always had a good sense of what people want to see. And, I find with artists a lot, the tough part is if you're not doing something niche and something artsy, for lack of a better word, it's not cool. It's that you're a sellout. You're appealing to the masses, right? And I never subscribed to that. Like, I happen to love superhero movies. I think they're the greatest thing.
Right.
I think I love superhero movies.
Yeah, I do too.
Give me an Avengers every week.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in. I'm sold. 5 hours long. I don't care. And when you talk to a cinephile, like somebody who's super into movies, like they'll tell you that's the biggest piece of garbage, like whatever. But
Really?
it's not. It's entertainment. It's mindless entertainment. The stories, they obviously suspend your disbelief. It's all fake. There's as far as we know, there's no like alien invaders.
Oh, I mean, Star Wars and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
probably one of the best cinematic.
And that's the interesting part, right? Like, that's the same genre if you think about it, and that's
Yeah.
considered one of the best movies of all time. And yet, like, an Avengers that comes out today, oh, it's horrible. You know, it's so
never
commercial.
thought
It's
that.
all AI, not AI, but it's all CG.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but so what? It's the same. The principle of what George Lucas did in the late 70s. It's the same thing when you see a superhero movie today. It's fun.
I think it
you
was
know?
the foundation of what that stuff was built off
Why,
of. I
why
mean,
when
the
we were 5
space-
years old did we all want to be Superman?
Guardians of the Galaxy, like flight, you know, all that. It was,
Every guy you know, without exception, well, I don't know, maybe there are exceptions, but every
Yeah.
guy that I know wanted to be Superman, Spider-Man, or Batman when they were 5 years old. One of the three.
Yeah. It was more when I got older, but if I had to pick any of them, I'd say Tony Stark, Iron Man.
But I feel like earlier there had to be.
And I
know?
don't even, that was like comic books that he was in there. So it was, you know, I wasn't into comics and stuff. I was 86, but you know, so
At some point we all gravitated to, you know, want to be a superhero.
Exactly.
Because there's, you know, listen, hopefully everyone has a great life, but like at some point there's something missing, or you just want more. Or you just, man, I wish I could, you know, be invisible and be in a room.
get bit
man,
by a spider that could make me, you know.
Yeah, I wish I could fly. That would be pretty dope, right? Like so we all kind of have these sort of aspirations, and we gravitate to it, and then they make these super cool movies about it. So it kind of all makes sense. And I feel like for me, I've always been that idiot that like would want to see it. Like everything that I've made really just is self-indulgent,
Did you, because of, you know, your history and background, was that like a part of what got you into the producing and directing, or being a part of making those movies?
So
or?
I think I'm sort of, I don't know if I'm on the outside with this, but you know, obviously there are a lot of people who make film. You know, you talk to, why did Steven Spielberg?
Well, there's a
make
lot
movies?
of parts to a film too. You don't realize it.
Sure.
There's 300, 400, 500 people it takes to build that. So, but production and directing is like, that's the top echelon, one of the big jobs other than an actor, you know.
I think of myself very much as like a storyteller, you know, in different mediums, and that's why I've been able to kind of cross over a lot. I don't get too hooked on any of the like specifics. So, you know, in the fall of 2025, this past fall, I was out on tour with the Jonas Brothers, directing the broadcast for their Greetings from Your Hometown tour. And then at the same time,
I got to see if one of the brothers wants to get on. Bring them to Port St. Lucie.
Call them up.
Yeah.
You know, one of them lives in Miami.
Yeah.
Not too far.
Yeah.
And then at the exact same time, I was shooting a reality series on peptides for 6 weeks.
Okay.
I was directing that. And like literally like...
Did you learn about peptides while you were...
Oh, very, very much.
They
very
legalized like 6 of them today.
I think it was more than that. Yesterday,
was it?
Yeah.
I just saw that. It's quick. I didn't even get to dive in yet.
Side note, side point. But yeah, no, I'm big on the peptide space. So we're shooting, like I was literally going from one shoot to the other. We're shooting like on the weekend when we had a break from the peptide show, I'd run do a Jonas Brothers concert because all those shows were on Sundays, and then come back. And you know, most people kind of get in the lane. Either you're directing, you know, you're working in reality. Even for television, directing reality is very different than directing narrative.
Yeah.
You know, even within narrative, like, is it a comedy? Is it a sitcom? Like, people kind of have their specialties, and that's fine. And, you know, the more reps you get anything, the more free throws you practice, the more you're going to make. I just think for me, storytelling is storytelling. So when I'm directing a live broadcast, I'm just, you know, threading those cameras together in a way to tell the story to the viewer that's sitting at home. And that's the lens through which I see it.
Creative way of, 100%.
I think one of my skills is just kind of having the ability to be a viewer and a creator at the same time.
Having a vision, a total vision, total picture.
Yeah, just be, because, you know, listen, with film, you have plenty of time to, you know, you write the script, you think about it, you storyboard, you talk to the production designer, what's going to look like. You go shoot it from a couple different angles, and you put it together in post. With live, different animal. You know, many times, most of the time, when we come in, we're not, you know, we're the camera team. So the tour, it's already been designed.
Yeah.
The stage is going to look like what it looks like. We come in at the point where it's like, all right, this is what you got. Where do you want to put your cameras? You know, for the Jonas Brothers, that's exactly what it was. I went to rehearsals a few weeks before the tour kicked off. I saw the show 3 times. And based on what I saw to scale, you know, the rehearsal stages.
Is that how, like, you saw it before you became a part of it? Like, they asked you to be a part of it first?
We were already contracted to do it.
Gotcha. And you just wanted to kind of see what it was before
Yeah,
you
because
got there.
we had to know. I mean, honestly, the crazy part of that is that, you know, you think this is like well-oiled, like we were working with like very like fine details, and then we just had to like tweak it. It was not that at all.
Wow.
When we went to rehearsals, we were contracted, but we didn't have like a final number yet in terms of our production cost. I had to see the rehearsals to then say, all right, based on what your show is, this is what I think the camera coverage should be. And it's a complicated thing because they already have a camera team on the show.
So you're like stepping on toes or make them feel some type of way? Or?
It's like their camera team is meant for IMAG, which is, for those that don't know, that's like when you're in the arena and they have those big screens in the back, that's what their cameras are doing. Seeing it in an arena and seeing it at home are two totally different things. In an arena, like you're not going to put up a big wide shot of the arena because you're in the arena. Everything's like close up, close up, close up. You know, like you're already there. You want to get more detail.
100%.
At home, totally different. Like you're at home on your couch. Right. I want to see what's the whole experience.
You want to bring them there in the
exactly. What does it feel like from the back? What is it? You know, every band in every genre does a thing. You know, pull out your phones, put on your flashlights, right? What does that look like kind of from the stage view and you're looking out into the abyss? So how do you capture all that? And
drones too, right?
There are now. What we did on that tour, we did a 4-point. It's funny. It's
like the football harness thing where it moves with like a football
exact same unit. Yeah. So Spider Cam is made by Ross. That's one brand. We actually did not use Spider, but it was the same. It was the same thing. And you know, so we had that for most of our shows. We had a 2-point cable cam for some shows, and just thinking through like what those shots should look like. You know, I'm on a tour now that's kicking off next week.
Which one?
It's an Indian artist named Diljit Dosanjh, who your audience will be like, who's that?
Yeah.
I said the same thing when I got the call. I looked him up. He has 26 million followers on Instagram.
Wow.
He's a massive star in India, and he was also a Bollywood star, so he's an actor and a singer. And he sold out 15 shows in U.S. and Canada. And I don't mean shows at, you know, the Orpheum Theater in New Orleans. Right. I mean 2 nights at Madison Square Garden, 2 nights at Chase in San Francisco, a 60,000 seater in Vancouver. That's where the tour kicks off.
Wow.
Rogers Center in Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary. I mean, in every city, Orlando, Dallas, whatever, in every city, it's the arena.
I'm surprised that some people that I don't, you know, that you're like, hey, you never heard of these folks.
That's why the world is crazy, right? Because now listen, he does not sing in English, so it's not like he'd be sort of a crossover, like, happens to be from India, but he's an English speaking artist. So
right.
You know, you wouldn't know, who he is, but at the same time, it just goes to show you like the reach of the Indian population here in the U.S. and Canada.
Of Instagram, the internet, all of that. Yeah.
And what you don't think about the reverse. Plenty of U.S. stars go, to Europe, Asia, and they play concerts. But, a band will go to a European tour and they'll go, a country and then another country and then another country.
Not 6 sold out theaters in the whole U.S.
Not 15 shows in the U.S. and Canada. Like, that's a lot, at the... listen, I've seen some of my favorite U.S. bands overseas, and they're a little bit smaller. It's like the equivalent of like a minor league hockey venue, let's say. So it holds 8,000. Like, that's still great. I mean, listen, you can sell 8,000
compared to 60,000 seater 2 nights in a row.
Exactly. 2 nights at the Garden. I mean, that's crazy.
Big dog status.
That is crazy. With Kia in Orlando. I mean, really cool venues. So. And how they found me was through Instagram, by the way.
Okay.
Which is like, because I'm not tied into that world, but it is crazy how the world works.
A pretty large following that's Indian and Bangladesh, and like, because now with Instagram, my wife showed me the other day because she has hers in Portuguese. I was speaking Portuguese on the reel.
Yeah,
like you could see my lips moving and everything. Like it translated me. I'm like, baby, look at me. I'm speaking Portuguese.
When that feature came out, they're like, do you want to make it that AI can translate your reels? I was like, no, I don't, not yet. No, I'm not ready. I just
saw like a video that said, click all these boxes. And I was like, I didn't even know what I was clicking. Like,
and then it puts it out there.
Yeah. And
that's the thing, like with your content, certain concepts touch everybody.
100%. Humankind as a whole. Yeah.
And that's what's cool about film. I mean, I know, talking about back in time, like I know that film came out in a bunch of different countries, and when that came out and where we started this conversation was like, people know who you are. And it's like, yeah, I was getting these requests all over the world. I got a request to do I remember the first crazy one to me was a podcast in South Korea wanted me on their podcast. And like, South Korea. And listen, I made a documentary about a movie, right? Like it wasn't an original, it was original concept, but it wasn't, I wasn't like solving world peace or hunger or like whatever. Like I made a movie about a movie. So the reality of it is I certainly accept the fact that a lot of the
But you continued to tell the story about it too.
for sure, and it was
So-
obviously an original idea, but I accept that a lot of the popularity from that project was because of Back to the Future, not because of me, and that's fine. I guess that's neither here nor there. It was just a realization.
It was a good way to get people to watch it.
For sure. So,
Yeah.
so yes, Back to the Future. I knew the reason I made a documentary about Back to the Future is I know how many people it touched and how many lives it touched, and it was global. Like it was everywhere. It's huge in Japan. I mean, it's especially it's a movie about a really cool car. So, any country that loves cool cars obviously gravitated to it, and like doing a podcast in South Korea, it's like what, and South America, like all these different shows and things that ultimately I got to do, and it's just like, wow, this is unbelievably cool. Like with the Jonas Brothers, there's a Brazil fan page for the Jonas Brothers, and
That's like the second or third one for me of people that follow me as Brazilians.
Yeah,
my wife's Brazilian, so I have like that kind of niche market where
you're tied in
somehow. I guess I spent a month there once, but
I've never been. I'd love to get out there if anybody wants to bring me out there.
Yeah. That's anytime now I go on vacation, I'm like, can I go to do 3 podcasts while I'm there?
But yeah, you look at your analytics. You're like, big in Cuba. Let's go.
Yep.
That's one way to do it. Yeah. So it's.
Tell it what happened to the Korean podcast. Tell us what happened there.
So they interviewed me in English. Somebody spoke English.
Right.
And they interviewed me in English. And then when it came out, they sent it to me and I went to look at it, and like they like overdubbed it and subtitled it, like what I was saying, and then the questions they asked me were re-asked only in Korean. So like whoever was translating them into English, like that was removed from it. This is like,
wow.
It was like super overly.
Was it like the lips were moving too? Like, or
no,
this
is 2015. This is no AI talking yet.
Wow.
But that's kind of when I knew. I was like, damn, like you kind of get out there and it's like, wow, this is like really crazy. Knock on wood. I don't know if I want more or less of it, but I've only been stopped in an airport one time.
Okay.
They're like, hey, are you the guy that does the Jonas Brothers stuff? So this is like relatively recent, and like,
well, because you don't think about like I think of a movie that Leo DiCaprio did. I don't know who directed it. I mean, some of these like Scorsese, like some of these like big dudes, you know who they are.
Right. Like if you saw Steven Spielberg in the street, you'd know who it is.
I would know Steven Spielberg, yes. So, but that's like few and far between in that realm. So like, it's not like you're seeing pictures of like the producer, or the director, or like the staff.
And that's kind of what's funny when you think about it, right? Like think about, music, film, television, whatever, like everybody knows the big stars.
I don't think the people behind the scenes want to be seen though either sometimes.
And in a lot of ways they don't.
Right.
And the funny thing for me is, very honestly, like I did, like growing up, I wanted to be in front of the camera.
It's cool. It's cool to say that you're a part of the Jonas Brothers. Like it's a cool thing. Like I would go tell people.
What's funny is I didn't know that it was even a thing. And I started with our first job for them. They had this thing called Jonas Con. This is only like a year ago.
Jonas Con.
They took over a mall right next to MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, which is where the Jets and Giants play.
Yep.
There is a mall called American Dream.
Okay.
And it's the same owners as Mall of America in Minneapolis, which is like the more well-known one, I guess.
Right.
But American Dream, it hasn't been around as long, but it's the same thing. There's an amusement park inside. There's a water park inside. To even call it a mall is like an insult to it. But yes, there's an ice skating rink. There's a ski slope inside. Yeah, it's decked out. So they took over that mall, and what they did is had this massive fan convention. It was free. Fans were able to come. They performed a couple times. But they didn't perform in one spot. So they performed in the ice skating rink. They performed at the water park, and then they performed in one of the concourses in the mall. And the challenge that they ran into was like, how do we connect all these places and then have screens and stream and all this stuff, which was a specialty of myself and my partner Shai, who has we've been doing this for a gazillion years, and we happen to have done something at American Dream while the Jonas Brothers were looking to do this, and they're like, oh, those guys, they know how to do this. So they brought us in, and I'm like, the Jonas Brothers. Like, admittedly, in my head, the Jonas Brothers are just like, they were like some kid band that was on the Disney Channel. Disney Channel, Channel. I'm like, yeah, there's some Disney band. Like, I don't even know if they're still around, whatever. And like, it's funny is their music, like the song Sucker, everybody knows Sucker, and it's
amazing.
It's actually not even that old. It came out fairly recently, but like, everyone's like, oh wait, didn't they break up? Like, isn't Nick by himself? Like all this stuff, and like, I just wasn't.
They're brothers. They can't break up.
Well, for a while they stopped playing.
Yeah.
But That's all I knew of the Jonas Brothers. I honestly couldn't name all three at the time. I certainly can now. I know them now personally, so I know their names.
I know one's Nick.
Yeah, and then there's a Joe and a Kevin. But just Jersey guys like me. But we actually grew up in the same county in New Jersey, which is a weird connection. But so I didn't know anything about them. I go do this thing, and man, did I get an education.
Yeah.
First of all, packed. Like a gazillion people there.
Wow.
And you realize they have a rabid fan base. Like I was just posting like little TikToks from that thing.
It's like the crazy girls that like rip your clothes off if you let them. Like, just not to be naked, but just because they're crazily like, oh my God.
Exactly. And I saw that firsthand, and I was like, oh my God. And the thing that like tipped me off, I was just literally pulling out my phone, taking random TikTok videos, and over the course of the weekend, because we were there for rehearsals and stuff, whatever. I think I got 1 million views on TikTok combined
just from those few days.
Yeah,
wow.
and I was like, and at the time I had like maybe 3,000 followers on TikTok.
Right.
I was like,
where are you at now?
I stopped doing TikTok.
Gotcha.
4,000 is the answer to your question. But basically, when my Instagram like started exploding because of my Jonas Brothers content, I was like, what am I bothering with TikTok for?
Yeah. Plus, it was going to be gone there for a little while. It was like shut down.
This was after that. But it's like, there's and I was working hard. It was just 2025. 2025, one of my goals was I'm going to build my TikTok.
Okay.
So I went from 100 followers to 4,000, which like is something.
Right.
But at the same time, I felt like it had it was just like my dumb humor. Like I'm from New York, so everything's just sarcastic humor. That was like, if you look at any of my TikToks, that's what it is.
Well, you know what they call Port St. Lucie, right?
What's that?
So they call this mini Manhattan.
Didn't know.
Yeah. The Mets do their spring training here.
I know that.
Yeah. Like I guess when they built Port St. Lucie, they had all these lots for sale for like $5,000. They just started calling people in New York.
Makes sense.
And so it turned into like the retirement capital of Manhattan.
I thought that was just the whole East Coast of Florida.
There's a lot of New Yorkers here, but there's a lot of everything here. I mean, Florida is the mixing pot for everything.
They used to tell us that's what New York was. I don't know.
I think Orlando might have taken over with the biggest Puerto Rican population.
Really?
I think they're close. Yeah. Like I remember working there in construction and BVL, going into the Winn-Dixie, and they were handing out condoms. And there was like a bowl there. They were like, "Here, take 3." Like,
you're like 3. All right, gonna be a long night.
I don't know if it was an STD thing or like stop the pregnancies. One of the
or both. Just all encompassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these are kind of like there's only so many hours in the day to manage social media, so it's just like, all right, I'm giving up on TikTok.
Yeah. No,
it's still there, but whatever. Maybe one day.
I didn't even know it was a thing for me. Like it was I just made videos every day for 6 months on TikTok, and next thing you know, I had like 15,000. And then I was like, and YouTube, I was like posting the same videos that I was posting on there. And I turned it off, or like I just stopped going on it. And then I went back and like I didn't gain a lot of subscribers, but I had a lot of views. I'm like, there's 20,000 views on some of them. I'm like, wow, maybe I got something here.
Like some of these dumb jokes that I made on TikTok have 12 million views on them.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like I remember like, and this is where life's so
But then
funny.
people connect and they're like, all right, this guy does this guy's here. Like, and they're like, I love what you got going on, man. It's cool. Like and then whatever is in your feed is what you see. Whatever you like is what you see. So it's then you start seeing more of it. So
yeah, I mean, I remember the biggest TikTok I ever posted. I happened to be in the airport the day that they mandated the real IDs, like that you couldn't fly without a real ID, and I just happened to be flying that day.
And didn't have your ID.
No, I did. I was fine. Actually, it's usually it's a good gamble that I'll be in the airport on a given day. But I was in the airport, and there were like 3 news anchors lined up doing stories from the lobby. I was in Raleigh, in North Carolina, and I walk in the airport. I see these people with cameras, and at the time, I'm in the TikTok mentality of like, oh, just shoot anything you see. All you need is 6 seconds and write something funny. And so I check my bags, and I see
it's that easy.
I
folks.
see these 3 people.
It's
That's
that
it.
easy.
That's it. And I pull out my phone, and all I did is I took a pan, and I've had a real ID by the way since the beginning.
Okay.
I panned these 3 reporters. That was the shot. Pan it, and then you see like the gate to get in. And I wrote something to the effect of like, real ID is going into effect today. Guess how many people are getting held up at the airport? Like something,
right.
Whatever. 12 million views. was like, what? And it was just right place, right time because everybody's talking about the real IDs.
We flew back from New York 2 weeks ago, and it was the day that nobody showed up to JFK to do for the not border patrol, but the
TSA.
TSA. Nobody showed up. They didn't get paid for 2 weeks. So like we show up, I'm like 2 hours early, which is pretty common. But you see a line all the way through JFK, and it like wraps around all the way to where, and I already knew we were going to lose our flight. Like I was like, hey, where do I reschedule? Like, I'm getting that line.
I feel like certain blessings, like one of them.
But I videoed it. I did the whole like above the, I didn't put it on TikTok. Maybe I should go back.
That was one of my first. So that weekend with the Jonas Brothers, the first reel that I think blew up was. On the day at least, because the ones that blew up the most were the night before, obviously, because I had access and whatever, and they were performing in an ice hockey rink. All I did was take a shot of the ice hockey rink and just write, the Jonas Brothers will be here tomorrow. That's all I did. That's it.
Yeah.
And it blew up. It got like 250,000 views. Wow. I mean, it's like I could have gone to any ice rink on the planet and taken it. Like there was
true.
There was nothing special about what was in this video, but the truth is, it was. Information was like not.
Were you like tagging people or like
I hashtagged the Jonas Brothers. That's it.
Yeah.
But at the time, the fans didn't exactly know where they were supposed to go. I think people, with an event like that, it's weird. It's not like a concert at Madison Square Garden. Like no, it's a thing at the mall, like a convention. So people don't know where to go, what they're going to see, where they have to. So, any information you can get online is valuable. And like I didn't realize, like I didn't think I was reporting the news. I was, but
that is really news now. I mean,
it is. You are not wrong. It is crazy how that goes.
And so a lot of times that real, AI now you don't know what's real, but the real stuff is like if you get a full in person.
2 nights ago, 2 nights ago, like. I'd like to think I do this for a living. Like AI should just kind of jump off the page at me.
Yeah.
But 2 nights ago, I'm watching this. Like you said, ends up in my algorithm.
Yeah.
Some makeup artist is doing a tutorial, and she starts the same in every video, staring at the camera, and like she has like a caption from, let's say, like, I don't know, Kim Kardashian. It's like, I bet you can't do me, or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And then like 3 seconds passes, and then there's like a flash, and then her makeup makes her look exactly like Kim Kardashian.
But she didn't look like her before.
12. No. But when I say look exactly like, I mean look exactly like. It's like, oh my God, she did her makeup exactly, and now she looks like Kim Kardashian. But at the same time, you're like, oh, that still looks like her, just with the make. But like, if you saw her in the street, you'd be like, holy shit, that's Kim Kardashian.
Wow.
So she has like 12 videos on her page, and I'm like, yo, this is her. Like, this is a skilled makeup. This is crazy. And I send it to one of my friends, and she's like, That's AI.
That's fake.
It's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not.
I did the same thing with my wife. There was a video of like a panther jumping. It's like it's this new like trend for Naples, Florida. It's like what happens in Naples, and like it's like
the alligators coming out of the water and like going after the kids.
But this one was like the guy laying on his back porch. It was like a Ring camera photo or video of him like laying on a hammock on his back porch, and this panther jumps in the hammock with him and like lays there. I'm like, honey, you believe this? You believe this? Look at that. She's like, that's AI. And I'm like, like you see like the little
same thing. I saw the Naples one with the alligator coming out of the water, and there's like a baby stroller, and then like the I don't remember if it's either like the guy, the dad, the mom, whatever. Like it's like going because the alligators come and they like protect the baby. And I watched this thing.
I don't trust nothing no more.
I watched this thing 20 times to be like, wait, is this real? Is this fake? And then like, yeah, it was fake. But then I realized, I
wonder how long like we've been like stuff has been going on, whether it's political, whatever, that like.
I mean,
like usually we're late to the game. By the time it reaches like the market or like the humankind or the world, like it's already been.
No matter what side of the the line you're on, I mean, it's fairly well documented.
Yeah.
That we were basically being duped on the internet as far back as like the first Trump election. So that's like a while.
Yeah, that was the
Russian propaganda,
and then the audience members at the Democratic conventions and stuff. They were like, every third audience member was the same one, and like they were busting people in.
I don't think that they've had like secret AI technology like further back than we know. I think that the revolution of AI really is on the timeline that we kind of know it to be, because stuff that we were seeing, is not that far back. But like as far as photos go, Like, don't get it twisted. I mean, the ability that we've had,
Photoshop and all that for
Photoshop's
years.
been around for I think 25 years, maybe. Which, I mean, we have to look it up, but I know it's something around that because I
Photoshop
remember
can do some things. That's
yeah,
for
and
sure.
I remember using Photoshop a long time ago, and in the early days of Photoshop, you needed to be an artist and be creative to kind of if you wanted to manipulate in that way, but. I mean, nowadays it's
Any kid can watch a YouTube video and learn how to do
the
it.
amount you could do on your phone. It's like, the other day I was creating a sign up form for my website, and I didn't even
Google Docs.
Forget Google Docs.
Forms. There's a new one.
I wasn't even thinking about I didn't think that I needed it, and then I posted something about this new course that I was telling you about that I have coming out the day I was filming it, and so I just posted an Instagram story like, "Oh, I'm filming my course today," and a friend of mine hits me with a DM and he's like, you should have a sign up form on this story. He's like, he's like, for people to sign up for the waiting list. He's like, you're just wasting an opportunity right now.
Right.
And he always busts my balls, but I was like, damn, he's right. I was like, he's right.
Yeah.
He was like, he's right this time. Like, this is a wasted opportunity. So I was driving in my car, and literally from my phone while I'm driving, I went on to Claude AI and I said, can you make me a sign up form that matches my website? It's for this course I have coming out. And this is driving down the road.
Yeah.
In seconds, it
Spit
made
it
the
out.
code. All I had to do is download
Claude?
it. Yeah, in Claude.
Yeah.
All I had to do is download the zip file, upload it to my web hosting, and that form was then from thin air to functioning
Literally, you can talk to it. You don't even got to type it.
in under a minute. And then I literally just made a second story that had the same background and wrote, and if you want to find out how, because by the time I did that, I already had a couple hundred views on the story. I was like, well, I don't want to burn those.
Yeah.
So I just made a second screen and just said, and if you want information, fill out this thing. And I put the link, boom, over to the website, and like 20 people signed up for it just from that. And I was like,
well, that's your CRM now. You're building off of that too. So when it does hit, you got all their emails.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and I was like, wow, like I really.
I'm learning. I'm still, and the Claude was my spiritual awakening that just happened to me recently because I was Gemini, and then Chat GPT is like, you tell it the sky's orange. It's like, yeah, the sky's orange.
Chat GPT. Unfortunately, obviously, I think the vast majority of the world, if you're even using AI, is still just stuck on Chat GPT. Yeah. And it's like the worst AI tool.
Some people are just learning it. It's like,
I mean, it can do some stuff.
How old are you?
43.
Okay, so you're still in like that same era of like before Google. Like I'm 39, I'll be 40 this year. So I feel like it was probably like the best time to grow up.
I tell that to people all the time.
I swear, because
I grew up and I never answered.
have-
And I'll tell you, I never
ahead,
answered your
sorry.
question. You asked me. You said like, why did I get into filmmaking? And the answer is not because like I fell in love with a camera when I was 5 or I saw some movie that inspired me. That is not the answer. The answer is I love technology.
Yeah.
I've been a technology nut since like as early as I can remember. We had a record player in my house. That was the first thing, and then it just
I used to
went
play
up from
my
there.
dad's records. He
Yeah,
had the big Cheech and Chong rolling paper one, but the rolling paper was gone.
My mom said that I would sit we had a room in our house called the music room.
Okay.
Everyone played piano in my house, so I had a piano in there, record player was in there, she said I would just sit when I was like 1. I would just sit like this, and they had a record. They had the coolest technology back. It's funny, my parents are not technology people, but
It's like a Pioneer one. I think my parents had was like the whole deck. Like it had like the tape player, 2 tape players, the radio, and then the top was the record.
This thing was so old it had an 8-track player in it.
Wow.
And the record player.
I never messed with the 8 tracks.
But the cool part was that you could load records. Like you could put 5 records on top, and when one finished, the next would drop, next would drop, next would drop.
Wow.
Yeah, because when you think about a record, like I got a record player at some point in the last 10 years, whatever. Like for a regular album, like a 12-song album,
it's still a thing. People got like the stores, like where you can go buy records and stuff. Yeah.
But the problem is like for a 12-song album, a lot of those it's on 2 sides of 2 records,
flopping twice.
so you have to flip it twice and change it once to get through a 12-song album. So when you think about that in terms of like the record players, like, you know, when we were kids, like that would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
But if you have one of these little players,
Or you just get used to listening to 12 songs like probably our parents did.
yeah, you know, it's like, how do you babysit?
Or whatever was on.
Yeah, the 5 songs. Yeah. How do you babysit a kid? Well, you just load 5 and let them drop, you know? And that was me. I love technology.
Yep.
So, even, you know, Back to the Future is the thing that like kind of made my career. Back to the Future, I know that the original Back to the Future is a masterpiece, and the sequels were good. As a kid, I hated Back to the Future Part 3 because I didn't like westerns. Like that just didn't appeal to me. I mean, I saw it, but it wasn't like my thing.
My dad used to have them on like the black and white ones, like on AMC, and like I just never.
That was never my. My parents were never into that. Thank God, so I didn't have to deal with that. But
the Yellowstone thing, like I can't.
I've never
either.
watched a minute of it. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
But Back to the Future Part 2 was the one that called out to me, like hoverboards, flying cars, time travel,
the
almanacs, sports
Reeboks,
almanacs,
the pump up Reeboks.
Yeah, the Nikes, they're Nikes
or
Nike Max.
Sorry.
Yeah, you know, can't give free pubs to the wrong companies, you know. So yeah, I mean everything about that, the jacket that like, you know, sucked on, like the self-drying jacket, even little things like Pepsi Perfect popping up from the diner table, like every cool futuristic thing that was in
at that movie, time too. That was like
just screamed to me. Just screamed to me. So I always loved technology. I got into film because I was in my mid-20s. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I dropped out of law school like after college. I was going to go to law school, and I dropped out before I ever started.
Really?
Yeah. So like
I didn't even like go there and like flunk out, or it was like just
I wish
good.
That'd be a much better story. But yeah, no, I
gonna bow out.
I was into music growing up.
Okay.
I was in a band in college, and like really my wish was that my band would have taken off.
What'd you play?
I was a lead singer and played guitar.
Okay.
Like I said, I wanted to be in front of the camera.
Yeah, okay.
You know. So
ain't nothing wrong with it.
Hey, listen. So I just had I think in a perfect world, like the band would have progressed. We would have started touring, and then it would have been like, all right, well, I could do that now. And it just didn't happen. I don't like, the truth is I didn't pursue it hard enough, honestly. Like, and I think that that's the thing that I'm most talented in, is that, which is funny because that's not the thing I've made it in, but which is always going to be a weird life thing for me, but it is what it is for right now.
I was at like 36 years old, like maybe I should play the guitar. You know, but this new like creative mind came out of me like whenever I stopped using heroin and crack. So, like
helps. Well, I don't know. Maybe it helps the other way too.
I was creative before, but it just kind of took it away whenever that happened. But different now, liking art and you know, I've always kind of had a thing for it. I like going to museums and stuff like that, but now like just certain things, and I don't know.
Yeah, and I just felt I was just always drawn to, like, you know, with music, I want to do that. With technology, I wanted to, you know, more. And when the camera started getting smaller and everybody had one, like, I just wanted to have one. I was married at the time. And, you know, when you're married, you have to justify every purchase to both the credit card company and your wife, you know? So it's twofold. You know, you can't just buy stuff.
She saw how much I spent on my Porsche last week, so I was in the doghouse for a few days.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, and the Porsche isn't a great car to sleep in, I'll tell you.
No.
It's not
it's a little more comfortable than a Ferrari, but I'd probably still sleep.
Not the most, you know, you're better off on the couch. So you know, she let me get the first camera, but then after that, it really turned into like, how do I make money so that with the technology, so that I can keep buying the technology. I didn't think about it in those. That's not how I thought about it, but that was certainly
how you had to feed your habit,
right?
And eat and pay your rent,
and I always, you know, everything with me was doing something creative, like you just talked about, like how to do something creative. So once I have the thing, well, now I can make a movie with the thing and whatever, and that is really how it all.
You stepped your way into it.
Exactly, that's how it all started, and then
same thing for me.
Yeah, because I was 25, 26, 27 and had like no clue what I wanted to do. I had this camera. I started making videos. I was making money. So it's just like, all right,
but that was like an early year. Like now kids are getting, you know, it's like $3,000 cameras from their parents. And like,
well, I mean, I laugh all the time. And this is just, this is so well known. Everyone always says like, you know, people come to you for advice, right? And people say to me like, listen, I want to buy a camera, and there's this camera. It's a Best Buy. It's like $700. Like, and I think like it's really going to help me to like do X, Y, Z. And my answer is, well, you already have a $1,500 camera. And they're like, well, what do you mean?
Cell phone.
And I'm like, the phone in your pocket. Like that's, you already have one. And And that's not to say that, getting like a nice mirrorless camera or whatever is not better than the cell phone. At some point, you cross the threshold where it is better than the cell phone.
Yeah.
Genuinely. But a lot of times what they're showing me is not. What the cell phone can hold up to whatever it is they're showing me. And then B, it's like, why don't you just start making content first? And so many people who want to be creators and want to do stuff have that roadblock of like, it's got to be perfect. Or
I got a lot of cheap cameras off of Facebook Marketplace.
That
from
too.
People that gave up.
Yeah, and I have a
Full podcast set up. Like,
Exactly.
like, oh, I'll take that one and that piece right there. But
I mean, listen, what you're doing here is great, but the reality. Most podcasts fail because
money or it's
time.
Time.
Right? The 1 and 2, right? Or people think I'm going to start a podcast and it's going to get sponsored by DraftKings next week. Like, that's just not how it goes. Not for most.
DraftKings, please pick us up.
And listen, I worked on a lot of those podcasts. I saw you had the Mike Tyson thing out there.
Mike is we're sure. I mean, we're in South Florida, man. It's a beautiful place to be. Even if folks don't want to drive up here, I was filming in Miami, and that's why I built the studio, was because $600-700 per episode to drive down there with editing, with and losing money from not being able to. I can take an hour lunch from my job and come here and not losing a whole day from work.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, everyone sees like what Pat McAfee did, and it's just like, well, I mean, that's amazing. But it's the literal equivalent of saying, well, I'm gonna be the next Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, because he did it, so I'm gonna do it. And it's like, the math doesn't really math on that. I don't.
Yeah.
And I think it's just we were talking before we went on air about pickleball, right? Like it's this sort of up and coming sport, and everyone's like, well, I can do that. And it's like, well, yeah, you can get on the court and you can hit the ball with a paddle and it'll go over the net, but that doesn't mean that
even like the cheap paddle's like $50. Like,
yeah, but
the ball,
but it also doesn't mean that like by next week you're going to be the next Ben Johns.
Yeah, is that a good pickleball player?
Yeah, he's like he's that's the equivalent of me saying you're not going to be the next Michael.
Have
Jordan.
you heard of paddle?
Yes,
that's a big deal now. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it originated in South Florida or if it's like
it's gotten big. So I'll give a huge shout out to my friend Sydney Steinecker, who started a company called Project P Events. I'm helping her out with stuff.
Right.
And really looking to take like the pickleball and paddle market like to the next level in terms of like parties and like raves mixed with these sports.
Get out of here.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Their fitness thing is doing that now. Like they're
doing like really cool stuff. In Vegas, like had parties
like
this
a
weekend
club.
in Vegas.
You can go. There's the sauna room over there. There's 20 saunas. Everybody sits in the sauna together.
Yeah.
Like,
so and really like because what's happened with these sports is they become very like stuck up. Very
cliquish, high schoolish.
Right.
Oh, and you play over at South Bay, huh?
And the problem is people take it, the people are taking it way too seriously, right?
Yeah.
Like you buy a new $300 paddle every other week. Like it's like, stop. People just stop.
They sell $300 ones?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And what she's doing is just trying to bring it back to like more community-based, more wellness, more having a good time, right? Like, I think that's really ultimately what it comes down to. But, with paddle, I think it's gotten big in the rich communities. It's sort of become like a rich
it's not
sport.
Cheap to build one, that's for sure.
Right. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people put pickleball courts in their backyard. Not that that's cheap, but
you could use some concrete that's already there with like a net and like lay some plastic on the ground.
Or like if you want to do it nice, it's just a surface, right? You're just surfacing an area,
coating it and
exactly. And putting in a net, and even with the nets, like it could be a permanent one, it could be in the ground, it could be something that rolls, it could be cheaper, more expensive, whatever. But yeah, I mean, put up a paddle court with glass all around it, whatever. That's not a cheap undertaking. And I have a good friend who lives in Aventura, and he's like, "That's how I do my business."
Paddle?
Yeah, that's how we do business. Like guys,
we're
get
gonna
together,
do a deal.
We play. Yeah, that's where deals get made on the paddle court.
On the paddle court.
I mean, that's kind of the up and coming thing, and what she's trying to do is activate pickleball. So it's like
that'd be cool, man. I mean,
it's a very cool space.
Everything that's going on now is pretty cool in that way, in that aspect. Like I said, like it's not like going to the bar or going to the club anymore. It's like, no, we're gonna hang out on a Saturday and work out with each other and then network afterwards. Like, who would have thought?
It is hard to get people's attention. It is hard to get people, out the door. Listen, coming from New York, I'm still, I'm living in Orange County now, but I'm in New York every.
What is Orange County still New York, right?
There is an Orange County in New York, but I live in the one in California. But I'm basically like half New York, half California. and then the other half everywhere else. Right? Like
I feel like LA, you got to be there if you're in like the film and scene. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of that here and a little bit of that in New York, but
yeah, I have to tell. I mean, for work, I'm all over the place. Like I certainly work in LA, but I don't even live in LA. Like I think Orange County is definitely more for me than LA. LA kind of has a little bit of the crazy that New York had that I ran away from. But I'm an hour down the road, so it's like not, unless you go during rush hour, then it's like 2.5, which I wouldn't do. But but when you go back to New York, like nobody even wants to leave their apartment. Like people are so jaded. It's so when you get into entertainment, both I think on the event side and in the production side, like to capture people's attention, to capture people's time, it's like impossible. And the crazy part is, guilty as charged. I don't think people realize like how much time they waste in a day just browsing Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard to look it up. If you have an iPhone, you just go over to the little screen time and like you see like how many hours it is. I mean, I see the numbers sometimes myself. I'm not even gonna say it out loud. You cannot beat it out of me.
I don't even want to check.
Yeah, you couldn't beat it out of me. I wouldn't tell you. I know what it is.
I would like to justify it in multiple ways on why I do it, but
I mean, I know over the last few months I devote more time to it once I grew a social media following. I mean, I'm guilty as charged. I look at every comment, every single one.
Yeah.
And it's not that it necessarily affects me. And the reality of it is I'd say over 95% of the comments on my social media are not only positive, but also complimentary. Like, and like over the top. Like, oh,
I feel like if you're doing something to better the world or help somebody or like, you're never going to like be in public and be like, your content sucks and you're a horrible person. Like you're always going to have, you're going to have haters. Like
as long as it's not divisive content, right? If it's political in any way,
100%. That's why I don't go that route because like, and even, I mean, I'm not religious. I don't say religion. I say it in a spiritual fashion of like why I became, how I met God and all that. So it's like, but people, it's that's usually most of the comments are on that. Like, oh, you follow Jesus. And it's like, bro, whatever. You like Buddha or what, I still like you. You're okay.
We were talking about peptides before, right? So the vast majority of people that promote that online, they are promoting it because they believe in it. Right? It's something that they either, that they usually personally
do it yourself. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they believe in it. And then you'll go to the comments. I mean, you'll have, yeah, that's the greatest thing ever. Or you don't know what you're talking about. There isn't enough data. It hasn't been, I mean, so there's so many topics. That
Red Bull hasn't been out long enough to have enough data, like you could have cardiac issues because of Red Bull or whatever.
People I mean, the internet is a divisive
Water
place.
from New York is different than...
Well, I mean, Manhattan water is great. You drink right out of the sink.
The bagels.
But, I mean, I made a new rule, by the way, because I'm at the gym all the time. I work out. Like, so eating healthy was the first thing. Mm-hmm. And I have a new rule. I will not touch pizza or a bagel unless I'm in New York.
Okay.
And even then, it's not like I'm housing.
I was hurting. Like, I ate everything. But someone told me to. They were like, "You got to go here. You got to try that.
It's worth it. I mean, it's worth it. You got to binge it a little bit."
I eat clean enough now to where, like, if I mess around and eat like some French fries, like my body just like my stomach,
If I have a slice of pizza, it's not gonna,
Yeah, burping it up later, like just like my body don't like that stuff no more. But even bread.
But I have that. Sometimes I go back to New York and you have that calling.
I'm a fat boy at heart still, deep down inside.
Yeah. Same thing with desserts. Like, I don't usually have it, but if it's right in front of me,
man, that chocolate cake looks good.
I'll have two forks, like just two, because you can't just, I'll just run it off tomorrow. That's my philosophy.
100%.
Run it off tomorrow.
Dude, we got a lot in common, man. You're definitely on a lot of same wavelengths and stuff.
For sure.
What would you say? And I would say you're coming up in the film industry. What would you say would be like two of the most adverse times of your life? Let's start with one. What would be the first, hardest part?
I mean, personally and professionally kind of collided when my documentary came out in 2015, and then I got divorced in 2016.
Okay.
So those, they were not related in any way. I'd say not related surface level, but from a 30,000 foot view, they probably were. I mean, things were just changing completely in my career, and it was not, I think, where my ex-wife and I thought we would go, like, as a couple. She wanted somebody who was home all the time just around a lot more, and I was not around. I mean,
Yeah.
now, I mean, I can't even.
It's hard. Yeah. 100%.
I can't even be in the same city at this point for. I don't think I've been in the same city for 2 weeks since October.
Wow.
Yeah, that's.
But you've
That's a
adapted
fact.
to that, right? You've become.
I'm used to it. Everyone's like, "How do you fly so much? That's crazy." I'm like, "It's not crazy. I have, I'm a million miler with Delta. I have diamond medallion status every year. I eat for free in all their lounges. The worst place I'll ever sit is Comfort Plus on a plane. Like it's, when you remove. I was going to say this before when you talk about your 2-hour line at JFK. Knock on aluminum.
Well, you could have got on quicker. It was only like a 1 hour line to go through the what's that called? The
pre-check clear.
pre.
Yeah. So
And I was like, how much does that cost? I'll buy it right now. Like, but they were like, no, you have to go through an interview process. And I'm like, man.
And that's the thing. Like I have clear, I have pre-check, I have digital ID, touchless. So it's like all these things when you get used to anything in life, you kind of get desensitized to it, right? Like I do high rocks, right? So
I get excited. I've only been in an airplane like maybe 15, 20 times in my life. So like,
I was going to say I took about 15 or 20 flights during the TSA shutdown.
okay.
This is the most recent one.
Yeah.
I was all over the place. I did not wait in line for more than 5 minutes at any point during that.
Right.
And I'm seeing all.
Well,
and
someone
it's like,
told me New York was bad. Like there was
no,
a
New York
like,
was. I mean, all right. So I know even at JFK, if you flew JetBlue, which is they basically have their own terminal, Terminal 5, nightmare. But I flew Delta, Terminal 4, walked right through, no problem. I showed up for a flight during the lockdown or shutdown. I showed up for like a 3:40 p.m. flight at 3:03. That's when I walked in the door at the airport, and I obviously didn't have luggage because I wouldn't have even made that cutoff. But walked in at 3:03. It took me 7 minutes from the time I walked through the door until I had my bag back on my back walking to my gate. So that's not even 7 minutes online. That's 7 minutes of walking, getting to the line, going through security, waiting for the bag. And it's like, yeah, this just wasn't bad. And it's not like I think like, oh,
but
no,
you've
it's fake
adapted
news.
to that. I say that
Totally.
because like you're used to it. Like
Totally.
what like if I was to go there and be like, oh yeah, Charlotte, has the best bagels over on the gate 3. Like
Go get it.
I would never know that because I've never been to Charlotte at gate 3. So
right.
like somebody who flies a lot would.
And even today, like I'm leaving here. I'm gonna have to fly to Atlanta, lay over in Atlanta before I go back to LA. Like it's a lot, but it's just when you're, I actually love planes. Like the level of ADD that I have in general is so bad. Also, my phone rings all day. I'm on the phone all day. When you put me on a plane, I can't be on the phone anymore. You're not even allowed.
So you get like woosah time.
It's funny. I hardly watch television or movies anymore in general. But an airplane is the only place I will basically watch, a movie or television. But it's also the best place to work for me because I pull out the laptop and like nobody is bothering me.
Yeah.
And I'm locked. You can't go anywhere. I can't get up. I can't walk around. I can't get a snack. Well, they bring you the snacks, but
Right.
like you're just focused.
I like that. Yeah.
It's the only place people are like, oh, don't you hate these long travels? I'm like, no, they're the best. I'm so productive and locked in on a plane.
No, I was prepared with mine, and it took us. We were supposed to fly out at 11. We ended up getting back to Port St. or Florida till like 7 that night. But the whole day, like I had a speaking engagement the next day, and I was like preparing for it. Like it was like, and then it helped. It helped. Me and my wife hung out. Not that we don't hang out, but we had some more quality time, just me and her.
No, I hear that, and I'd say yeah. So bringing it back, yeah, that time period of my life where I was just out and about and all over the place, like that was tough to kind of adjust to. All right, I mean, imagine you just had the biggest success of your career, and then within less than a year, like the biggest downfall in your personal life. So. And I know you've been through, a ton of kind of seeing the bottom in your life.
No, yeah. I wasn't married with my son's mother, but, I can it was 10 years. So,
yeah, it's the same. I was married for 11 years. Yeah. So, like, kind of going through that at the same time, having this crazy, like, personal success. And then really the way it related to my career was, a one-hit wonder is a one-hit wonder. And that documentary coming out, for people who are, like, looking to start a business and have success, when you
got to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, but I think the beautiful thing with a business is, let's say you're selling widgets, right? And it takes you years to figure out how to sort of reach critical mass, and then you do, and then like you've kind of hit that moment where you're like, we made it. We had our first $1 million in sales, whatever it is.
Right.
Then you keep climbing, right? From the first $1 million, you go to the next $1 million and $10 million a month and whatever, and then you keep building and building and building and investing, whatever. With art, it's totally different, and this applies to any piece of art. If I was a painter, it would be the same thing if I just painted the Mona Lisa. When you do the thing, when you make the film, when you paint the thing, when you come out with the hit record, there's nothing beyond that. There's no, there are certainly doors that open, right? If you're a music artist and you have a banger of a record, well, then yeah, people know who you are and they're going to listen when you put out the next one.
Right.
But guess what? If the next one sucks, you're done. Okay? And as a painter, if you're Banksy and you keep putting them out, great, but again, you're only as good as your last piece of art, and as an artist, and I think that really does apply across all formats. Now, what it does do, very honestly, once I had that first hit documentary, I was able to open a lot of doors. So when I did my next project, oh hi, I'm the guy who directed Back in Time. I want to XYZ. I want to sit down with this person. That sure, having the strong resume helps as you're going forward.
Yeah.
But they say in business, it's easier to make 10 million once you make the first million.
Yeah.
Making the first million is the hard part. I don't think it applies the same way in art. I think it's equally as hard every time, because ultimately the work itself has to be good, and
you got to keep doing the work. There's no sit back and relax unless you're investing or using it.
Well, that's the problem. Sometimes you get yourself in trouble, right? Because you have that first thing and it may bring you financial success or just ability to go to an investor and get money for the next piece. Well, I made my first documentary. We crowdfunded it. So out of my own pocket, I spent very little to go shoot a trailer. Once we shot the trailer, we crowdfunded the first quarter of the project and then crowdfunded a second time to get the rest of the money. So we were basically dealing with other people's money. It was, in the traditional sense, you'd call that investors, but there was no return for those people. It was Kickstarter. I mean, the return was like a t-shirt or a signed license plate or whatever it was. And that was obviously all fulfilled, but very different than having a business investor. Well, I mean, imagine this. You do something, you have success in it. Now you go to an investor. Hey, I'm the guy who did that. I want you to invest $200,000 in my next project. And they do based on your credentials. And then the project's a flop. Well, now you're in trouble. Like, where's that, how are you paying back that investment? Or is it just now a failed investment and the guy loses money, So there's a lot, with art that I think is very different than business.
I would agree with that.
You can't roll one thing into the next in the way that you can.
Like movies and stuff too. They think certain movies are going to be huge and
they flop. Now it's good with film. Studios have endless amounts of money, so who cares about them? But with indie, I
didn't know. I'm learning here because I didn't know.
If Disney loses $1 million on something, who cares, right? Like, they'll make it up at the turnstile the next day in the theme park. But and I'm oversimplifying.
Yes, it's true though.
Right? Don't come at
sighingly, but because of the truth.
Yeah, if you're doing an indie film, and let's say your budget's somewhere between $1 and $2 million. I mean, on an indie project, that's a lot of money. But the thing is that there's a lot of rich people out there who made their money in insurance and real estate, doing boring stuff. And now they want to do fun stuff and they want to do creative stuff. So guess what they need? They need write-offs. So for them, if they invest $1 million into a film, the $1 million to a filmmaker is everything, right? That's the money that they need to bring their vision to life. If that film is a success in any way and that investor makes his money back, great. You had a successful project, investor made their money back, you have success, everyone in the project, it's seen, it's out there, it's what everybody wants. Well, if the project's a dud and it gets released and nobody ever sees it and it loses all the money, that's just a write-off for the guy that wrote the check. If you think...
But the person that put their blood, sweat, and tears in it is just a devastation and
Well, and they did their thing, and maybe it came out and it's, it's sitting on Prime somewhere, but nobody really sees it. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's up to the artist to make the art and for people to like it, but you're not killing the investor. Like, the investor actually has a way to write off that money, and it's a good thing for them. I mean, the end of the year, investors need, or people who make excessive amounts of money, they need write-offs all the time.
Yeah.
So to write off a film project that loses money is almost a necessary evil.
Yeah.
I mean, even on a small scale, people are at the end of the year like, damn, I'm gonna owe 20 grand in taxes. I'm gonna go buy whatever, just so then I'll have it, and then less income or whatever. And that works when you're getting, when you're talking about $1 million films. It's scale.
No, I'm thinking about that now because the guy I was talking to about the documentary, he's like, oh, well, you don't make the video first or the 30-minute or 1 hour video. You make a trailer, and then you get, like, he was telling me some websites like a GoFundMe, but for like, Christian, people, and they, and I was like, all right, I didn't know. I did
not know that there was a Christian crowdfunding. Yeah. Crowdfunding. It's funny. In 2015, we first crowdfunded in 2013, and it was relatively new. Kickstarter was the big. Kickstarter was first to market. Indiegogo was kind of right behind them at the time. And yes, now there's a bazillion crowdfunding platforms, and they've gotten super niche, right? Didn't know. We'll have to look up this Christian one. After. But at the time, it was still a mystery to people, And I remember even with Indiegogo, like people thought that was like a scam site. Like it's like, is this real? Whatever.
Well, GoFundMe is because they get you for half of whatever you don't donate or whatever.
Yeah, GoFundMe I think was kind of GoFundMe was the first one. Everyone Kickstarter was kind of like the general, whatever. It was.
But usually with Kickstarter, you had like a product or something that you were gonna
You could still do a film. I mean, we did a film or whatever. You could.
Well, that's a product.
You're
getting
art.
Something from it, like a GoFundMe, or just like here you go.
Right. GoFundMe was kind of the first crowdfunding platform where it was sort of
donation.
Charity. Donation, charity based. I think they were the first one that kind of hit that one on the head. And Indiegogo was really no different than Kickstarter. I mean, kind of the same thing, but it was just time to market and where they were and like the cycle of sort of crowdfunding. People would come. That was.
I want to do my daddy gas mask. I want to put that on there. Let's edit that out. I don't want to give people my ideas. But no, I seriously like the when you're changing a kid's diaper. Like I don't know if it's just all men or just me, but I feel like I gag. Like I don't want to smell that.
Daddy gas mask.
And then you put the gas mask on, and you can get get licensed by Disney or whatever, and you can put different faces on it. You could like change them. You can have Mickey, Minnie.
Like what that look is, because I would say you probably risk traumatizing your baby.
Well, the gas mask is behind whatever mask that you put
right, but
on
I'm saying like your kids used to like mom and dad. Next thing he knows, like Mickey's in the exactly
Darth Vader with
exactly. It's like now he's really crying. Now I mean now it's just
pee all over the room.
Oh yeah. But I do like the idea. Now I have to edit the whole thing out.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
Oh well.
So I'm gonna see it like next year and be like, well, at least I got it.
Got proof. Yeah, exactly. This is the evidence for the court case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think being in the creative world, so the two things I think that were the toughest to deal with was kind of my personal life falling apart at the same time that my professional life was rising. But then almost at the same time, so really to add insult to injury, I was very lucky. I was very blessed that back in time, it was the #1 movie in the world on IMDb for like 2 months. And the crazy part of that is the year that our film came out, 2015, the documentary that won Best Picture at the Oscars was Amy, about Amy Winehouse. Who just died.
She was awesome.
And that movie, I think, was #7 on IMDb. And we were #1. And we did not submit for the Oscars. I think it costs money. You have to run your film in like a theater in New York and LA. And there's a process to it. It's not a crazy difficult process. It's just it costs money.
Yeah.
And myself and my producers at the time, we sat down, we talked about it, and we just felt like we're a movie about a movie. We're not going to win an Oscar. Like it's just not that good. It doesn't hit you, in the places that Oscar-winning documentaries do. Malala, right? Like it's just not that. We're just not that. And we didn't submit. But I always wonder, like, was it a weak year? Even if we didn't win, could we have been nominated? As our movie was so popular, when the trailer came out for Back in Time, it was the #1 trailer on iTunes. And when I say #1 trailer, I don't mean #1 documentary trailer. I mean #1 movie trailer on iTunes. That's insane. And you know, I remember every day I was screenshotting something else, and you know, keeping those receipts as I mean, those are my trophies. You know, of going on iTunes and clicking trailers and seeing your movie in the #1 slot, and just like, what? And kind of got desensitized to it after a while because it was happening so much. And we were in every publication imaginable online. We were in National Geographic. We were in Playboy.
Wow.
Online. What did either of those two websites have to do with each other, or with a movie about Back to the Future? And I would say that the answer is nothing.
But they still, you know,
it was literally crazy. Like, I could not believe that we were going through that level of success. The problem is when it keeps happening over and over and over, and you know, getting emails every day, come be on my podcast, sure. And I was doing, you know, around the time of the release, I was probably doing one a day. Then it was MSNBC sending a car to my house in Long Island to drive me to 30 Rock, you know, to be on some news show. And like, all these things happening, and I'm hanging out with the cast of Back to the Future all the time. Like, like they were like just good old buddies, you know, and then it goes away.
Yeah.
Because the film comes out. Back to the Future had its moment. That 30-year anniversary, our film came out on the 30th anniversary of Back to the Future. Huge cultural moment. Crazy. Yeah. And what's funny is they just had their 40th anniversary in October.
Wow.
Well, the film itself came out in July. But Future Day, October 21st, that's the day that they go into the future in the film. That's the day that we came out during that 30th year. And 2025 was the 40th year, so the 40th anniversary.
Gotcha.
Didn't make a lot of headlines. Not a lot of buzz. I mean, in the fan communities, yeah. But something about that 30.
Well, I think now that 10 years or that, you know, 10 years ago or whatever, like now you're seeing like stuff when like movies when we were kids. Like I know Back to the Future was, but that came out in like somewhere around, you know,
84.
Yeah. So I was 86. So that was like a generation behind us.
Yeah,
that
came out in 85. And
like now
there was just something about it, you know, because it's weird to think about it. We're in 2026, but times were different in 2015, and times are different in 2005 and 1995. Like every 10 years, things shift. I think now we touched on it earlier. Like the media is all over the place. There are so many segmented places to get your, obviously your news, but just where you can consume media. Yeah. Right. Cable television is dead. I mean, the channels still exist. But like, where do you even get them? Like, how do you get your ESPN? Like, well, what do you subscribe to? What networks do you have? What premium channels do you have? The entertainment industry and this is not an indictment, but they did a fantastic job of basically taking the cable model, which worked for a really long time,
and getting rid of
it. They killed the model under the pretense that everyone's paying too much for cable, right? Yeah. That was the sell. Everyone's paying too much for cable. Now you can pay less because you're going to get, you know, YouTube TV.
Well, you're paying for internet, and
so now
it's still the same price as cable.
Now you're just going to get your TV over the internet, but it's so cheap because now you don't need cable boxes. You don't have to pay $15 a month per box. What if you have 5 boxes in your house? That is how the entertainment industry, but they don't play checkers, right? They play chess. So what they did is they sold us on how expensive cable television was, got everyone into IP and streaming, broke the model of how of using a cable company. So everybody stopped using the cable company. And then everything over the course of the next 20 years turned into a premium network. The premium networks recognized the age-old rule, which is content is king. And as long as you own the content, everyone's going to need your service. Netflix obviously is the worldwide leader.
I remember getting the DVDs delivered to the house from Netflix when they first came.
Me too. And I, you know, I had the Blockbuster also at the same time. You had them both. You tried them out, whatever. And then ultimately, you know, Netflix, I think before anybody else, realized you need to have premium content to charge a premium price for your service and to keep people engaged. And that's what they did. And there's so many networks behind them now. And now all it takes is one show that you want to watch on one service, and you're going to get it. Yeah. There's just that one show on Peacock. You know, I watch Traders on Peacock, right?
Well, the NFL did it. Like where they have their one Thursday night game a year
on Prime, right?
On
so
Peacock.
How much? Prime.
Well, Thursday nights on Prime.
Prime,
and
it's like, how badly do you want it? Now, listen, a lot of people.
If you're a Dolphins fan and you want to watch the Dolphins on that one Thursday night game, you're going to get Prime.
I mean, yeah,
Super Bowl.
Yeah, the NBA is so segmented now. They have, if you want to watch the NBA playoffs and like you're a big fan, you want to watch every game, even if you're not, the games move around on network. So even if you're like, let's say just a Knicks fan and you want to watch the Knicks, well, one game might be on Prime, one game might be on ESPN, and then, you know, ESPN had their whole fight with YouTube TV. You have to get that. So what they did is they told us how expensive cable was. They imploded the traditional cable system and then made it that you need to spend like $300 a month on streaming services to actually watch everything you want to watch. I got to a point last year where I was paying whatever ungodly amount for all these services, and I swear I don't even watch TV. Yeah. And I was finally like, why do I have all these services? Yeah. I literally don't even turn on the thing.
I don't watch. We watch Naked and Afraid.
Right? See, everyone's got their one thing. And then, but if you have your one thing and it's like one thing here and one thing here, one thing, you know?
And football. I mean, but last year the Dolphins suck, so I didn't watch any football.
I do watch football. I do watch a lot of football.
Yeah.
That is my one thing.
And that's why YouTube TV worked for me. Because it was very sports based. So.
But then, you know, if you wanted your Sunday ticket, you used to have to get it, you know, with DirecTV, and they had a monopoly on that. And now you could just get it through YouTube TV. There's just so much stuff. But I say that to say that in 2015, when Back in Time came out, you were still able to have those cultural moments.
Yeah.
You know, I have a friend who likes to use the reference like when Michael Jackson's album came out in the 80s or 90s, like when a big record dropped from a big artist, it was a cultural moment. And those moments...
Well, you heard about it worldwide, whether you liked them or not. And now it's only like the people who like a certain artist are the ones that know when their stuff is dropping.
And that's why, like, bands aren't so famous anymore. Plus, there's just like a bazillion bands, and everyone can, like, niche whatever they want. But why aren't there mega stars anymore? The mega stars that we talk about, the Leonardo DiCaprio that we mentioned earlier, they were already mega stars in the 90s, and we're still talking about them. But, like, who becomes a mega star today? Who becomes a Michael Jackson today? And
the only people that are megastars are the ones that already were, like that. They're Netflix signing, you know, Adam Sandler, like, because, you know.
And to swing it all the way back around, we talked about the tour I'm going on next week with Diljit Dosanjh, 26.5 million followers on Instagram.
I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, but I'll look you up at the end of the podcast. You got to give me his Instagram.
And that's, you know.
And maybe we can collab. We'll get you when you're in Florida and hit the podcast.
Right? But that's the world that we live in, where you can have 26 million followers on Instagram and plenty of people don't know who you are.
Seabohm has 26 million followers.
And
he's worldwide though. Like his are probably, you know,
but there are so many.
Mr. Olympia.
But that's the world. Like the world that we live in is so segmented that you can have millions and millions of followers and be making millions and millions of dollars, and people just don't know who you are. And to think about that as a concept in entertainment is crazy, because who in 1985 didn't know who Michael Jackson was?
Yeah.
Who in this country didn't know who Oprah Winfrey was? Like, or, you know, Michael Jordan, probably the most famous name on the planet Earth, right? Like, and yet today there's hundreds of people that have those types of followings, and we're so segmented that, you know.
I wonder if there is. You can go on like Instagram and see like the top.
Those lists exist.
Yeah.
Those lists exist, and like Drake is in there, and like, you know, like those kind of names that are more universal. But I mean, Drake is not the star that Michael Jackson was.
No.
And that's not a commentary on either one's music or what they did in their spare time.
No, it just, like you said, it's the cultural like mega starness of the world. And yes, Drake has maybe the same level of fame, but it's a different era of kind of how you embrace it. And
I don't think that means that Drake could walk the streets of New York City like with no bodyguards and nobody will recognize him. Obviously not. He's obviously a mega star. But to create a cultural moment, you know, listen, I'm not a Kanye fan, all right? But what he did at those shows in LA was huge.
Yeah, he built his you know, the Taylor Swift things that we were talking about. Everything he did, like, over the years.
But, like, what a moment that he had a couple weeks ago to kind of come back on the scene and do this crazy set design, this crazy concert. But, like, if you didn't see it on Instagram.
Individual, too. He didn't have anybody.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you didn't see it on Instagram, you kind of didn't really know it happened. and it was big. It was like a big thing that he did. But
I
like,
heard about it, him doing it, but I didn't see the actual. It was like a sellout, couple sellouts.
Yeah,
or something.
sellout, and they streamed it. It was online, but like I didn't know it happened until afterwards because I saw like clips of it on the internet, and quite frankly, a lot of the clips I saw are because like somebody that I know on Instagram worked on the show, and like so that was a lot of the media that I saw from it.
So it wasn't maybe like mainstreamed or anything. I saw it. I saw what it was about, but not. Wasn't like, oh, I got to have it on the calendar.
If a huge artist in the '90s like came out and did something like that and sold out like 2 shows, and it was 2 shows only, and it was on television live, the equivalent of streaming. That was a huge, Live Aid when Queen played. Like that's a concert people are still talking about today. So it's just a different time. And I think what's interesting about Back to the Future, like I said, we nailed the 30th anniversary. We nailed it. It was just this cultural moment. Right place, right time. That's the thing that I think I recognize best and that I did best. Not that I made a documentary, but that I realized that, this anniversary that they're going to have 3 years from now is going to be so big and everyone's going to care about it. And it was true. And then 10 years later, not so big, like just because of the world we live in. And you know what? In 10 more years, I'll say this. This is my prediction. Or 9 years now. Back to the Future is going to have its 50th anniversary, right? That's a big number. That's the thing. You can connect to the world when something's so big. But, and I hate to say it, Christopher Lloyd is getting up there in age. Michael J. Fox has a debilitating disease. James Tolkien died within the last year. He's the guy that plays the principal.
Well, it's been gone from Universal Studios, but they still
ride,
have the DeLorean there, and they got the train.
Yeah, and there will still be Back to the Future fans all over the world. But when you think about in 10 years, knock on wood, hopefully everybody's with us. But it's certainly not a guarantee. And even those that may be with us, they may be older, they may be unable to make appearances and go on the news and talk about this and do all the fan fest stuff that they did 10 years ago. So will the moment that could be huge hit the way that it right? It just, so, right place, right time, and you get lucky. And I mean, that's the story of my career is luck mixed with,
I can identify with that. Well, do you think anything like, I mean, I'm not going to go there fully, but like, do you think something was guiding you on like decisions where you, was it just like a great idea, let's do it, and ran with it?
Yeah, I kind of live my life like YOLO, like why not?
Right. So risk taker.
For sure. And if I have an idea that I think is good, I just do it. I mean, I've failed at a bazillion things.
I'm that way now. I mean, more so now than I was before. I've always been a risk taker, but like I wanted to start a sock line. So I'm like, all right, let's do it.
I in my early 20s, my in between law school and getting into this video stuff, I went to work for my dad for a couple of years, and I had no business working for my dad. He had like a plastic sales company. It was like, he knew I didn't want to do it. I told him day one, I don't want to do sales,
right?
Which doesn't work great at a sales company. But I was like, I'll help you with your marketing, your website, your this, that, whatever. And then like, I got him to invest in all these like get rich quick schemes that I had. Nothing was too expensive, but like for example, we labeled water bottles for events, right? Like custom water bottle at your event. Well, I mean, sure, that's a business, but like,
anybody can print stickers. And
like what are we doing? Like I wanted to custom imprint like things, but and custom imprinting is a great business. Yeah, t-shirts, pens, whatever. But like that has to be like your business. You got to invest in machinery, whatever. I was trying to like wholesale it. Like it may. I mean, these were just bird brain schemes. But like and I. I wish for both of our sakes he would have just said no. But we took a hack at all this stuff. Even you
learned a lot from every single experience.
Man, yeah. Like I remember even trucking. So, he had this plastics business. There's a lot of trucking involved in that business. You're moving pallets of bags here, there, everywhere, whatever. And he used to use outside trucking companies, which made sense. And I just remember I was like, why are we like, look how much money we spend every month on trucking. We should do our own trucking. And like,
it's a pain in the ass.
What did I know about doing trucking? I knew nothing. And, like I said, they were moving pallets at a time. Well, we weren't going to buy a 53-foot trailer and start dealing with CDLs and drivers and all that stuff. So we bought a van, and the van was a regular like passenger van, but emptied out, and it was big enough that you could put 2 pallets in there. So I was like, what we'll do is we'll eliminate all the small run stuff that you're using these big trucks for, and you have plenty of it. So as long as it's 2 pallets or less, or if it's a couple boxes, whatever.
Right.
So we bought a van. We redid the interior. We got all the graphics done on the outside. Of course, that was my favorite part. We hired a driver full time who was driving for us. And like at the end of the day, this was the dumbest idea I ever had. Like it did not save us any money. The overhead, the expenses, managing it, having an employee, like it was very expensive. Not that it didn't get used, not that, but like I don't remember what we were paying at
You're
the
basically helping the guys.
yeah,
that
but I
work
mean, if
for
we were
you.
paying, what, $55 a pallet for delivery, maybe. I think if I might be totally off on that, but I think that's what it was locally within the New York area. Like, so the guy could run $100 worth of deliveries a day. Like, what were we saving? You know what I mean? Like, 150, $200. Like,
Yeah.
the math wasn't mathing, and I think the problem with a lot of my early ideas were that they were not. You couldn't grow from them. They had such a low ceiling.
Probably could have been good staying in one spot, paying bills, getting a little bit of extra there, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it wasn't like a full-on growth method.
I think I've always believed and still do in the hustle, but like a lot of times you have to recognize if you're just hustling, you need a bigger plan.
Lawn business, and it's like you're only gonna, I had an opportunity to get bigger contracts, then you're dealing with more people, obviously, more headaches, and it's like that would be the dream, right? To just not have to deal with a lot of people.
Well, for sure.
or in business. I mean, it's a pain in the ass in business.
Yeah, but now I think about everything in terms of that. Like what's the ceiling? And even with art, it's not that I won't do something for a one-off thing or a one-off project. Sure, I will. Even going out on tour right now, that I'm going out, like I'm reaching a whole new market, a market I've never worked with, but it's a very finite thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting paid as ultimately I'm just a day laborer. I'm no different than the gardener. I have a different set of skills, but knock on wood, I'm making more money.
Yeah.
But like it's very finite. There's no growth potential. I mean, the growth potential is I can get hired for something else after. But when that's the potential, when that's what it is, you need to recognize that and understand where the ceiling is. And there are only so many hours in the day. I think that's the other part, especially as a creative. Like when you pour your heart into something, it takes a lot of time. Like the grind is long. You only have so many hours or things you want to do for yourself. You want to go to the gym, you got to do some recovery at night. Like it's, kids, wife, like everything takes time. You only have so many hours to work. Or you could choose, I'm just for me and I'm going to work, 19 hours a day and sleep for 5. Like that's fine too. But even then you still only have 19. So where are you investing that? Are you happy just being whatever? What's your retirement going to look like?
Yeah.
And I think, now I've hit 40, like these are the things I'm thinking about. And then like putting things in buckets. Sure. I'll continue doing this project, or I'll invest in one of my own projects. At least that has the potential to maybe make 6 figures and take that. And then,
well, if you can invest in anything, you'd want
Exactly.
to invest in yourself.
Exactly. And that's the beauty part too. If you can sort of figure it out and put away some money, then you can continue doing the things that, sure, they might not be the most high paying, but they're, emotionally fulfilling, which is so important, right? Like, I think the thing that people tell me the most is you have such a cool job. Like, yes, I do. I know that. I chose that for my life. I chose for my life to have a really cool job. But I can't imagine going and sitting at a desk and like it would just not be for me. Like I could never last in that environment long term. But there are trade-offs. I mean, it's not, my mom has been working in like bookkeeping her entire life, and she's the most not risk-averse person the most risk-averse person you've ever met in your, like, ever. And she looks at me and she's like, I don't even know how you, like, I can't even imagine not knowing where my next paycheck's coming from. Like, I don't know how you live. I don't know how you sleep at night. Like, and I have these conversations with her, and it's, I mean, we're
I've become that way though. I mean, that's like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this, but I'll figure it out. Like,
right.
And because, why live that like lifestyle of like, oh, I only have enough money to pay these bills, and like,
it's a mentality, and you know what? It's a very safe mentality.
It's boxy though, and as unique as I've kind of been my whole life, I feel like I've always kind of ruffled feathers and done things differently, but it's worked. If it's working, you can't.
I've always said I do my best work with my back up against the wall.
Yeah.
You know, so many projects I do in the last night that they're due, and maybe it's not the best way to live, but the reality of it is
it's still fresh on your mind the next day.
I just don't feel.
I studied for my exam like the last week right before. I'm like
that
crammed it,
and that's how I was as a kid too.
it.
I'm not good at getting ahead of things.
Yeah.
Because there's a level of pressure that I don't feel until it's due. I love working in live television because of the pressure.
Oh yeah.
I love the pressure of it.
I got to pick your brain on live because I'm thinking about going into that realm. But
I mean, I thrive in that environment, and most people are like, you could not pay me all the money on earth to do that. Like I would crumble. Like with that kind of, I don't want it.
It's all about perception, because if something fails or whatever, they would look at it like the biggest failure on earth. But if you would look at it, it's like, oh, well, like it happened. Let's keep going.
I mean, listen, in those moments, it is the biggest deal in the world. You know, we had one of the 5 original Jonas Brothers shows that we did. The internet went out at the venue. By the way, had nothing to do with me. It wasn't my problem. It wasn't my internet. It was the venue's internet. But guess what? We weren't on air, okay? And I have the Jonas Brothers manager standing right behind me going, when's the internet coming back? Like standing over my shoulder, breathing down my neck. And, you know, he's not saying much. He's a very quiet guy, but like, I mean, the pressure's there.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm dealing with their musical director going, how long can we hold them? When do we have to start? Well, there's a curfew in Dallas. So like they have to start by X and X time so they could finish their set in time. How much time do we have before and there's all this stuff going on. When you're in that moment, yeah, it feels like the sky is falling. And the whole thing where you could turn around and be like, yeah, well, you know, we're not curing cancer. It's just like, like it might be true in a bigger sense. But you know, I've never sat down. I'd love to talk to a brain surgeon and sit down with him and go like, what kind of pressure do you feel when you're performing brain surgery? Like that you have somebody's life in your hands. Like, how does that make you feel? Like describe those emotions. You know, and in my line of work, you're just bringing entertainment to people.
Yeah. And
you would think that would take the pressure off, but it doesn't. Because, you know, I would listen. I know there's a bunch of people in the room when a brain surgery is happening. So I don't know how that person feels, but it's very localized. It's localized to you, the patient, the people in the room. And I am not minimizing that. That's life or death, literal life or death. But in a lot of the situations that we deal with, there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people watching what we're doing. And like, there is a weight to that. There is a weight to that being your job and knowing that what I'm doing, the calls that I'm making, the choices that I'm making, the buttons that I'm pressing are being seen by millions of people. And I think the only way that you could kind of minimize that stress is just to tell yourself, it's just entertainment. You know, you have to tell yourself that over and over and over again, because like, oh man, if you don't, like,
beat yourself up.
Yeah. And it's tough. You make one, you know, television's not perfect. It never is. Like you throw perfect out the window and just go for the best you can do on the day. But I am a perfectionist, and if one shot goes wrong, it doesn't matter. One shot can go wrong. I could cut a camera 2 seconds too soon and nobody will ever notice, and that will haunt me at the end of the night. And best case scenario,
nobody else even knew what.
Nobody else even knows.
Maybe
and best
other people
case scenario,
in your field, right?
Right. And best case scenario, that's the worst thing that happens. That's the best case scenario. When something actually bad goes wrong, you know, I had a show at the end of the show, and it happens. You hit the wrong button, so like the wrong camera pops up, and it's on screen for a second, and we've all seen it. You see it during the Super Bowl. You see it during the biggest broadcast of.
I've probably seen it and like never noticed.
You notice for a second, but like life goes on. You don't think about it. You're like, oh, what was that? Oh, they messed up. Like, who cares? It's a second. These things usually last on air for a second. And I had one of those happen like right at the end of a concert. Of course, it has to be right at the end, last thing people see. And it's like, oh. And then the show ends, and the 2.5 hours that you just, you know, slayed right before it, who cares? Because there was one mistake at the end, and you're just like, damn.
Yeah.
Killed the whole night, you know? And that's, I don't know. I think there's probably a happy medium somewhere in the middle, but to me, that's the best mentality to go in with. You can't be okay with the mistakes, because
what are your thoughts on like podcasting? What do you think, like live is better, or do you think like the after?
I've worked on both at like fairly high levels.
I feel like because the reason why I ask is because I've had some folks that are, higher influence people who are like, oh, I want to see the full edited version first. And, I don't know if they thought like if you're live, you say something wrong or whatever, you get canceled or.
Yeah, that specific point is interesting. I would say this. So I've worked on a bunch of podcasts, Mike Tyson's podcast, did all the smoke. We worked for Showtime for a while at the last agency I was at. So all the Showtime sports podcasts were kind of in our world. And the two biggest ones that we had were All the Smoke, which is still around now, even though Showtime's not, which is a basketball podcast. And then a show called Morning Combat, which launched when I was there. I was kind of the original producer and director on it. I was on the show for a little while. And the difference between those two shows, one was live and one was not. All the Smoke was a pre-recorded podcast, just like this, a bunch of cameras up. Somebody sat and edited after. And they had some of the biggest names certainly in the NBA sphere, but just in general, they've gotten great guests on that show. It's been around for years now. The two hosts have a lot of reach. Mm-hmm. They're both NBA players and NBA champions, and so
yeah.
And it's they're in a specific lane. They get a lot of people in that lane, and it works. Our show is live. I think the biggest thing with a live podcast is, even though you'd think of it as a podcast, to me it was more the news. It was more of a morning show, and the format really had to. If the format didn't feel that way, then what was the point? So, hidden within the name, Morning Combat, they were a combat sports show. Their biggest competitor, I'd say, was Ariel Helwani's show at the time. I think that's, people might know it more. Although they beat him for best MMA programming a couple of years at the MMA Awards, or the Combat Sports Awards, whatever. So they that show, on Monday morning, it started as a once a week show. It was Monday morning. Eventually it grew into Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then now one of the hosts left, and there's another. Luke Thomas is now hosting by himself, whatever. So, but live format was always important. Why? Well, Monday morning is the day after all the fights. Mm-hmm. So you have boxing on Saturday, UFC on Saturday, maybe there was something on Friday, and then Monday morning they get on and recap that show. Now, if that show doesn't come out on Monday, who gives a shit? Like, you're talking about old news. When the show expanded to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, well, Friday was obvious. It was the preview to the weekend. What's coming up? Wednesday was a mixed bag, depending on what was going on. If there wasn't a lot of big name boxing or MMA fights, I mean, whatever. And the two hosts, they kind of just developed their own shtick, and they do all these funny segments, and they make fun of videos that they saw on the internet. So it was still a podcast. It was a variety show. It was McAfee meets the news, right? And specifically focus on combat sports. If you're just going to have a conversation like we're having, like, why does this have to be live? Who cares?
Yeah.
So I think that's more where you lose the benefit of live. I think, obviously for when YouTube Live came out, actually when Facebook Live came out, take it all the way back, Facebook was giving a heavy hit to live videos on their platform because they were trying to really push Facebook Live. Yeah. To me, like, Facebook Live is like dead today. Like, who cares? And I know that there are a lot of organizations that have big Facebook followings because they've been around for a while. Right. So they still want to leverage Facebook Live because that's where they reach the most amount of people. But Facebook Live to me is dead. YouTube,
Facebook alone, not dead, but
it's I mean, it's
not the go-to platform.
No.
Like your aunt and your uncle are on there.
No. So to me, going to YouTube Live, it's a very easy way to go live, and it's free. So YouTube Live is a great platform. Obviously, Vimeo has live, and they have a nice player, and it's embeddable and all that stuff. Instagram, to me, can't solve one problem, and that is that phones are vertical. And any professional live stream, cameras are still not vertical. Yeah. And there are ways around it, and I've done them, and you could do it. But, anytime you're mixing horizontal and vertical video, you need a workaround. It's not doable, but it is problematic. So, it's just a thing.
Right.
And
you might get more viewers if you're...
Yeah, but Instagram's kind of like the place to be, right? And same thing, TikTok has live now too. So if your younger crowd is kind of your audience, like how do you Same thing with the vertical problem there.
Rumble's a big one now for the podcast. Rumble, and then with Rumble, you can switch it, or not switch it, but you can put all your platforms on there so it'll live stream to all of them simultaneously.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of like Restream is a service that's been out that's basically a distribution service.
Really?
Yeah, so you can kind of hit a bunch of places, or I've done a lot of corporate streams or branded streams where it's we worked for a while. We worked for Twitch. Oh, the other big streaming platform. Forgot that one. So Twitch, Twitch would do a deal with whoever. Let's say it was Domino's Pizza. So like we'd want to stream on Twitch, but also on Domino's Pizza's YouTube account at the same time, right? So that's how we would do that. Live is still very cool, but I think for me, and this kind of goes back to what I said about I'm sort of the idiot consumer. I look at everything from that lens. Like, yeah, live is cool. Spend some money. You have some software over there, just pressing buttons. But why are we doing this live? Like, why? And if you could answer the why to me, then I'm going to ask you about the how. How you doing it? Who's paying for it? How you advertising it? All that stuff. And then from there, that's when you hit the go button. But it's got to make sense. Like, it has to make sense why you want to do it, not just because.
Well, I know that some of the platforms like are pushing lives more to be able to put your content out to more people, and it's a for especially the folks that are in like the TikTok shop kind of realm where they're selling T-shirts or whatever. These folks are killing it, but that you're only reaching people who want to buy your stuff, and it's like,
so are you selling something, right? Like, easy question for that, like. Yeah, TikTok, the live creators on TikTok Shop, they do great.
They're selling stuff, though.
Right, but it's like, if we're just having this conversation, then why were we going live on TikTok? Like, what's the benefit? So that's how I like to break down any kind of creative project. Like, take that approach, get super granular.
No, it makes sense. I haven't thought about it at all. I was just figured,
And by the way, I used to host a live podcast with Sinbad. We had a show together, me and him. Yeah. It was called Technically Funny. He's actually a huge gearhead, loves gear. Like me and him are cut from the exact same cloth in terms of that. I had interviewed him over at NAB, which is a broadcast show in Vegas, which is actually happening next week. I'll be there for a couple days. And I just interviewed him I was working for a company called LiveView, had a presence there. I was hosting some stuff for them. He had come through. They're like, oh, you want to interview him? I said, yeah. We said, what can we do that's really cool? And LiveView, basically, they're portable camera technology. So a lot of the streamers that you see like walking around, like, oh, how are they streaming live? They're in the middle of the street, right? Like, they use these portable video encoders. And LiveView's been around for forever. So I said, let's do this. Let's take a LiveView, throw a camera on it. And what we'll do is Sinbad and I walk through the halls of this massive trade show at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And we'll just stop at booths. Oh, what do you guys have? What do you guys have? And we'll just talk about stuff. But essentially, like, the meta of it is that we're using this portable camera technology to be able to do an interview like that. And this is like back in, 2017-ish. So still very new, cool, like whatever. Like, oh, how'd they do that? I mean, today you'd probably be like, oh, they shot on their cell phone. Like, no, who cares, right? Like, but no, I mean, we're using a real camera and real technology and, real stuff.
Right.
It is funny, though, like how much... When I think about that interview, like how much we could have replicated it literally with a cell phone on a gimbal today.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we do that thing. And then I said to him, like, hey, man, we should have a podcast. Like, me and you, like, he's like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, great. So I'm back to LiveView. I said, hey, we want to do this podcast. And this is pre-COVID, right? This is before everybody, this is before Riverside. This is before all this stuff. I set up a crazy rig in my house, like crazy lunatic rig, so that we could both have professional camera setups and be in touch with each other, like be able to hear each other, record this thing. And we did it live. So he was at his house in California. I was at my place in Long Island, and we hosted this podcast together. We would have guests on every week. They would join via a phone app. I don't know, something. I don't even remember. Live Stream Studio had a way basically to bring people in as remote guests. And we just did this podcast, and, again, it's all like gear, like just crazy gearheads trying to solve a problem that nobody really needed to get solved. But I'll tell you, doing stuff like that when the pandemic hit, it perfectly positioned me to like fulfill all these.
That luck thing hit.
Yeah, it was like all these companies. Oh my God, we needed these remote streams. We need to have remote town halls. We need to have. I got you.
Yeah.
And I did a ton of stuff during COVID, like just in that in that
Yeah,
world.
I got to pick your brain on that for sure, because the remote thing is going to have to be a thing for me because of all the interest in folks that aren't able to do it. I talked to a guy from Ireland. I'm like, bro, when's the next time you're coming to the U.S.? He's like, bro, he's like, mate, I've done too much shit, crazy shit. They're never going to let me into your country. I'm like, say less. Like, now it's time to figure it out.
Say less.
Like. So and I feel like I'm missing not a market, but I'm missing something that could add value with having a worldwide,
especially as you
guest.
continue to go. It's like
and I'm playing it as it goes. Like wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna start doing lives at some point. Like no, or virtual. It was like no, virtual is a tool that I can use,
It's interesting because it's like
I had the Muscle. You want to know the Muscle from Diesel Brothers?
Yeah.
He wants to do a podcast remote. He's not going to be in Florida for a while. And so I got to,
That's the thing, and it's, it's a decision too, because it's like, well, a conversation's a conversation, but like, no, it's just different when you're in the room.
Yeah.
It's just different.
I agree.
Just take this chair, swing it around, same background, then get the remote guest in. Opens up a literal world of possibilities.
So I want to talk, about what you got going on now, because we talked about it in the beginning,
sure.
And I want to kind of showcase that a little bit. So what is it?
I've always loved the world of online education, and I think for me, part of the reason is that my college degree is in criminal justice. Like I was
went for EMS.
Yeah, I was not trained for this.
Starting IVs and
well, that's a good skill to have too. Yeah. But
I'm good at it. I did it. I drew blood on my wife. She did a vampire facial, and the guy was like, "You want to draw her blood?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah."
Okay.
Yeah,
I love that. That is actually really cool.
Yeah,
but
I still got it.
Yeah. And she's like, blood.
She didn't trust me because she didn't know me when I was a firefighter, so she didn't. She's like, "Oh." Every time I say something, I'm like, "Yeah, I was a paramedic." She's like,
Yeah. And you're like, "You'll see when you need me." But no, I learned everything from the internet. I mean, I learned when I started in this business, I actually had to look this up. I started before YouTube.
Wow.
So I didn't realize that. I thought I learned everything from YouTube tutorials, but my memory's obviously failing because YouTube didn't exist. And but I did learn everything from online tutorials. So
right.
Just going to I remember there was this company called Digital
Threads. Remember Threads?
Well, now we got the new Threads.
Well,
but yes, and I think that's obviously where the
Reddit,
Threads came from.
All that,
the early. But yeah, I remember a company called Digital Juice was a company back in the day. They sold like all these digital backgrounds, stuff like that you could make assets with and use in After Effects, and then having tutorials there and finding people online in these communities, and it's interesting. Once the internet came out, there was always information that you can get, and I think 15 years ago, the information was just better. You could find there's a YouTube tutorial for everything, but it's not the best way to learn because it's a little bit too segmented. One video on this, and I bought a ton of courses coming up. How do I learn After Effects? How do I learn Photoshop? How do I learn Premiere? And finding these good courses and kind of working my way through them, I learned a ton. And when my Instagram started taking off, I would get all these DMs of like, "Can I learn from you? Can I learn from you? Can I learn from you?" And the first couple, you read them and you're just kind of flattered. Mm-hmm. And then eventually you're like, there seems to be a lot of opportunity here and a lot of people that want my help. I think part of it when they first ask you, like, why?
That's where you realize you're like, oh, there's something here because I have something of value to provide.
I think it's twofold, right? Both from like the business side of it. Oh, there's something,
and helping someone
right.
to keep them
That's
from
the other
going
part. That's
through,
the bigger part. It's like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. There are a lot of people that can actually benefit from what I could teach them, and so I had always thought about doing a course originally on podcast. I was going to do a podcasting course, which I may still do.
Yeah,
but
I would watch it.
That's what I'm saying. If you're starting on everyone who starts out doing a podcast
there's people who are asking me stuff, and I'm like, I could teach you everything I know up to this point. But.
Right, and it's like, and that's the thing. It's like, wait a minute. When I think about it, like I said, I've worked on some of the biggest podcasts on earth.
Yeah,
and I've had to build out remote studios, in-person studios like this, like everything. I have a lot to give back in that space. I just, you know, you have to do a lot of marketing for it. How do people even know it exists? All that stuff. What happened here was I had so many people asking me about directing and live directing, and I was like, wow, people are actually, you know, I've obviously struck a nerve in terms of people who are trying to get into this, seeing what I do and liking it and wanting to know more about it. I should make a course on that. I know it's super niche because obviously, unless you're working in live broadcast production, like it doesn't necessarily affect you. But ultimately, when I sat down to like think, all right, what are the chapters in this? What are the modules? What are the individual lessons? I realized, no, there's actually a lot more in it than like, you don't just have to be like exactly doing my job to get something out of this. Because I talk about a lot of, rather than just show everything that I do, there's a lot of theory behind it. A lot of theory behind decision making, behind preparing for a show, dealing with clients, like everything. So I recorded a course. I haven't added up all the modules yet. I want to say it's somewhere between 3 and 4 hours. If I'm wrong, it's not much less or much more. But a ton of material. I kind of give in to what I know everybody wants. I do take some of my multi-views from previous shows and break down my decision making in real time. So a minute's worth of footage takes me 12 minutes to explain.
That's better than any course, in my opinion, is real life learning and how you handled it. How would you do it?
Exactly. And I know that's what people wanted to see. So one chapter is that, and I do music. I do a church breakdown and 2 different sports, the good and the bad on the sports side. I took, an NFL playoff game on Fox, which I think is like premium. Yeah. And then Netflix's coverage of baseball, which I think leaves a lot to be desired.
Netflix's coverage.
Yeah, Netflix.
I haven't seen it.
So it's only this year. They just did a deal with MLB. I actually don't even know what the deal is. Like, I don't know how many games they get, but they had the Yankees and Giants opening day, and it was a disaster. And what's funny is I wasn't watching it. I am a Yankees fan, but I wasn't watching it live. I only know it was a disaster because it was so bad that the next day it was all over social media.
Telling how bad it was.
Like, look at these screenshots. I mean, at one point a guy looked like a ghost. Like,
is this camera stuff or was it? Like,
everything. Yeah. Camera stuff. One interesting take.
Like, hey, we're Netflix. We're going to start doing baseball games. Like,
yeah, just the actual.
It's different. Yeah.
The actual
Thursday night football. At least it's cooler. There's not humidity.
Yeah, and like,
stuff.
listen, everyone sits and breaks down. Oh, which score bug is the best? Which has the most information? Which is simple? Which is complex? And you could talk about that until you're blue in the face. I mean, sure. When I look at a score bug, I want to be able to get all the information at once, right? What's the score? What quarter is it? How much? A lot of this you take for granted because some of it is so standardized. But like, if I'm watching a baseball game, like, what's the count? How many outs are there? Like, I should be able to like quickly see that when I look at a score bug. In football, how many timeouts are left? Or basketball, how many timeouts are left? How many team fouls? Like, who's in the bonus? Whatever. I mean, all these things, and these networks are really big doing the top tier games. At this point, they kind of got it down.
Yeah.
But when a new network, I think what surprises people is like you hear Netflix and Major League Baseball and you're thinking, oh yeah, premium, it's going to be great. But it's like, no, these are new people getting into this stuff and executives that have never touched this stuff before. And Major League Baseball is not a broadcast company. They're an organization that puts on baseball games. Like, sure, they've been in the business of broadcasting for I don't know, 70 years, whatever, but maybe even longer. When the first baseball game was broadcast, but it's a challenge even at that level, and that's kind of the part that surprises me every day with my job. It's like I'm fortunate enough to work at some of the highest levels, doing of music broadcasts and stuff like that, and it surprises me every day, like what people don't know or the questions that I get asked, and I'm like, wow. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess this is why I'm employed, but it still surprises me. Like, it still kind of gets me every day where I'm coming up with a solution for something, and I'm like, why am I the only person that's thought of this? Like, I guess you just sort of reach that point in life. Like, I think I still just want to be like a 25-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Like, like with not a worry in the world. And then I just have to remember, like, no, I'm like almost 2 decades into this thing. Like, I've amassed a lot of.
Yeah, that's you're definitely that long in any game. You're gonna be providing value or bringing a wealth of knowledge. I mean, that's where I'm at with like the construction field. Like, obviously, the guys think I just drive a truck around all day and point fingers, and it's like I was right where you were at. And I had a guy even say that. He's like, man, I thought you were one of those office bitches until I seen you on that bulldozer. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I didn't get here for, my good luck. So
And same thing with, everyone always hates the doctor. It's like, I go in there and the guy walks in the room for 3 minutes and looks at me and it's like, no, do you know how long a guy was in school? Like, do you know how many times he's seen exactly what you're presenting? And yeah, you're right. Every field kind of has that. Like you do amass just a ton of knowledge.
it's a vision thing. Like you said, like something that you see 6 things that could be fixed. Whereas I'm watching it, I'm like, I didn't see one thing wrong. And
Right. And I kind of view myself sort of at the middle, like the dead middle of my career, just doing math and, knock on wood, live a nice long life. But, I'm 43. I've been doing this since I'm like 25-ish. And like, hopefully, yeah, my early 60s, I'll kind of be getting ready to wrap it up. Or at least on the grind side. I hope I don't have to, I hope I'm not grinding the way I am, when I'm 75 years old. Like I would, like everybody else, I'd love to kind of
settle down
yeah,
at some point.
Enjoy the back half. And I'd be happy to work on projects. I'm a workaholic. I know it. So like, I don't really see a time in life where I'm just going to be happy doing nothing. I'm always going to kind of want to be in the mix.
Yeah.
But what's cool about it is like, yeah, I've reached a level of success and I got, plenty of time left that, knock on wood, hopefully I'm healthy and I can keep at it. So, that was the tough part in 2015, thinking like, wow, I just had my biggest success. Like, how could it get better than this? And then you realize that, no, it can. It's just different. It's just different.
It can.
It's just different.
And it will. There's going to be something else, for sure. So what's the deal with the course?
Yeah. So it'll be all over my social media. I'll have a link in bio for it. It's called The Art of Live Broadcast Production. Or live broadcast directing. I don't even know the name of my own course, but yeah.
Still, you're building, almost finished building.
Yeah, I finished shooting it. It's like 90-something% done editing, and just got to get the polish on it. I'm gonna have it over on Kajabi. It's kind of like school, but they're one of the old school. Just trying to keep it simple. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel.
That name sounded familiar. So
yeah, they were one of the early platforms that did online education. I think other platforms like school kind of passed them by when, a lot of people's online education offers were changing, including, having online communities and doing one-on-one calls and stuff like that.
The community was key for me. It was like when I did for my underground utility license, like there was like, hey, I had these questions today, like, and I passed the test, and it kind of helped you. Like, how much math questions were there when it's like, only about 15. And
like every online education course, like everyone used to have like, the private Facebook group, right? And I think, as you said, like everyone kind of stopped using Facebook. So
the Facebook communities are all dead.
Right. So basically all these online education platforms,
you got to roll with them.
Yeah. Like school, for example, what they did is they took all those things, right? The one-on-one call, the webinar, put it in one platform. Kajabi now caught up, and they, even though they were early in like just like selling the video course, now they've kind of reintegrated all this stuff. And the other thing is, I'm starting to get more into the one-on-one, like, consulting.
I
with
feel
people.
like that's where my kind of niche was the one-on-one thing was,
but
but you can't do one-on-one, and you can if you're in it for the passion and you want to help somebody.
And that's the thing too. How much time do you have? And we just talked about it, scalability.
Well, you got to have, like, my time is valuable. So it's like, especially if I'm doing one-on-one, like if you pay, you're going to pay attention. So I'm not like not helping everybody, but I don't want to waste your time and your money or my time either. So like if you're paying, you're going to.
And that's the part I found too, man. It's just like, I think this goes back to a lot of stuff that we talked about before. Like, I didn't realize how valuable I could even be to somebody. Like, why would I charge, in my head, it's like, why would I charge you money to talk to me when I don't even know what I have to tell you? But ultimately what I found is,
people are like, here, take it.
Yeah, I did it. It's not even that. I did a consultation with somebody yesterday, and I was talking to her about a lot of we were just walking through my career, a lot of it, because she's thinking about switching careers, and she kept saying, "Wow, what you said just validated everything I'm thinking," and like in my head, like I don't realize like, oh, I could have that effect on some just by talking about what I did. It's going to validate what you're thinking about doing,
right?
And kind of even for myself, like changing my own mindset to recognize that no, I've done stuff that so many people wish that they could do at some point in their career. So kind of hearing about how I got there, how it went, or just, it's that provides value to other people. And it's like, okay, heard. So, keep doing it. So yeah, I'm kind of, it's funny. A lot of people kind of get into the education phase when they're at the back end. Like I'm still very much in it. But I am starting to recognize like, yeah, I could help other people out. And I think for a lot of people too, I hate gatekeepers, man. I cannot stand gatekeepers in life. I think early in my career, I was, you're worried like, oh, if everyone can, it's construction, right? Like, what are you going to gatekeep how to put up a piece of sheetrock? Like there's plenty of room for plenty of people to put up sheetrock.
Yeah.
And,
no, I want to train people to be where I'm at, so I don't have to worry as much.
And that's the thing. I think it carries over in every field. Like there's something like that in every field. I think
putting my phone on silent for a little while, you know, just so I can.
In the creative space, it's like, oh well, if they understand how to paint, then I'm screwed. And I realize like, no, that's not the case. I could tell you exactly how to do my job. You're not gonna be able to do it.
But that's where a lot of folks in those areas don't have the confidence
and getting past that was a bridge that I needed to cross in my career, and I crossed it. And I'm not afraid of knowledge. I'm not afraid of giving out knowledge. And the truth is, if anything, I find like the more you give,
the more you receive.
Yep, it comes back.
Cup
around.
overflows.
Yep. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Where can people find you?
Jason _Aron 1A.
We're gonna post the links in there too. Is that your only Instagram? You got
that's my only Instagram. I think that's my TikTok too. And
okay.
If you Google me, you can find some old videos I've made that are pretty embarrassing.
From MySpace.
I leave them online, like old YouTube videos. I leave them up there just for funsies.
Okay.
If anybody wants a deep dive, you could find like the ridiculous cover music I was making in 2006 in my bedroom.
Wow.
Yeah. I just leave it up for fun.
Yeah.
I'd rather get the email, hey, man, I saw that cover you did of, that Three Doors Down song back in 2007. And I'm like, respect.
Dude, I appreciate it, man. It's been an awesome conversation.
Dude, pleasure to be here.
I can't believe it's been, it feels like it just flew by. And I think we had, we're definitely going to provide some value. If anything, some connection. So
amazing.
Appreciate you coming. Anything else you want to say?
That's it. Enjoy.
Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Discipline Legacy Podcast. You know what the deal is. Hit the subscribe, hit the notify, let this thing be something that you continue to watch. And thank you for all the support.